Hi there, you're at the Stellar Wyckoff analysis session. So the big question is Stellar price stalling? So let's quickly take a look at the charts and see what indications we get. So as of this moment, it has been it's still trading sideways between the key levels, the blue one 0.745 and the light blue 0.41. My tongue is has a cut, so you may find me speaking a little bit stopping a bit and maybe pronouncing a bit weirdly. Hopefully it will recover very soon. So back to the main topic. Here, this little pin over here, basically the bulls and bears are saying, okay, this level, intermediate level, referencing the second test back in December last year, is the level that they're comfortable to stay as of this moment. The previous 2 weeks was pretty much the same. The high point was at this level as well. So from a volume perspective, we see it has been declining, and as well as this week, even though we're just 2 days in, it's still, I would say, if nothing changed, it's probably is going to be similar to what happened last week and the week before. So the volume is not going to get too high unless there's some good news coming out, because even with some news that came out about Stellar's adoption by certain parties, it doesn't have a big shot up in price. So maybe this has already been accounted for in previous weeks. That's why when the news came out, the price hasn't seen any significant movement. If I quickly check the Kona squeeze and Bollinger Band as well, there's no squeeze at all. So the squeeze happens back in June, and we have this big price movement upward. Currently, it has to trade horizontal for a few more weeks for us to see another squeeze happening. So that's just the weekly picture. And are we going to see a second test, or even an upthrust that's higher than the buying climax? It's too early to tell, because the volume itself isn't there to support. So I'll still keep these two tags over here. One is a positive scenario up there, the other is the negative scenario or less positive scenario, going to retest the green line 0.33 level. So that's the weekly view. If we go micro to the daily, what happens here is, last time we put in the tag here, is it going for a second test, or is it just another LPSY that's heading downwards within this descending channel, this white box over here? So I can shorten this now, given the price has broke outside of this box. If you're into candlesticks pattern analysis, this channel that I refer to, they call it a flag. So a downward flag is a bullish sign, and that's why the price went up. But a bullish sign doesn't mean the price will go up higher than where the flag started. So that's the tricky part. So I can remove this LPSY, and instead it was really a second test, and it's actually near the level of the last second test back in late July. So this one confirmed as well. The question is then, would we see an upthrust, right? Is this going to happen, or is the chance of a preliminary support going to happen, or before that, would another sign of weakness happen before the PS appears? So as of now, like I said, the green here, especially this tall bar on Friday, last Friday, August the 8th, is not very encouraging for the bulls. Reason being this wick at the top, because with that volume and the wick at the top, that means there are people selling and pushing the price back to where the candlestick body the head of the candlestick body ends up with. That's why we have this long wick. So the bulls try to challenge the blue line on Friday, this blue key support at 0.75, not key support, just key level, it's resistance as of this moment. If the price goes past, that means it's become a support. But this key level, they weren't successful. The bears just kept pressing the price back to where we see now. So for 5 consecutive days now, the price has been constrained at this level. So why at this particular level between the two key levels? Because of what happened here earlier during the buying climax period and automatic reaction. So just make it appear on this level. So here we see these bunch of candlesticks, right? All these bottoms, and then this LPSY top. All of these are at this level. So that's why when we get to this week, we see these 5 consecutive candles being suppressed or constrained or restrained, whatever word you want to use. They just can't stay above this line. They tested, they went above, but then somebody immediately pushed it downwards. If we quickly check the current squeeze, currently a squeeze is happening. So when this happens, when I say squeeze, that means the purple are getting very close or even inside the orange lines. So when this happens, that means a bigger price move is imminent. So, well, it can consolidate a little bit further, like the squeeze can continue. If that happens, the move is going to be even crazier. So when the price starts to move, one example I can show you is the squeeze over here. You see this prolonged period of squeeze happening. So basically after the second test, roughly, more clearly it started after the sign of weakness, and then on and off the squeeze happened, and the price continued to weaken. And when the squeeze happened at the later stage of the accumulation cycle, the price shot up very high. So that's an example. If a prolonged squeeze happened, that can mean the shooting up or down can be quite heavy. So we're just starting to see the squeeze, and unfortunately it's at the upper end of the channel. So the first thing it would happen when the price moves, a higher chances towards the downside, towards the bottom edge of the channel. Sometimes it will go further beyond. So that's something combining the two, like Wyckoff and this Bollinger Band curtain squeeze. There is a likely chance that it will head to the sign of weakness first, and then the upthrust second, or like the second test, the new second test afterwards. So I'll move this over here, so it can be just a second test or an upthrust, depending on how high it goes. So this may be less likely after, only happening after this. So hopefully it won't happen after the sign of weakness, like it can squeeze all the way down to us here. If that happens, in the weekly chart, we'll be able to see some clues. So that means, if that happens, that means it's not going to test the blue level. It's going to come down to the sign of weakness in the weekly time frame. So when that happens, that's the downward scenario I mentioned. So instead of just sign of weakness, it goes all the way to preliminary support, because the price level is basically different in the weekly compared to the daily time frame. In the daily time frame, below the green, for me, I consider that is getting into an accumulation zone already, because even though the accumulation, or not accumulation, this distribution here, that very short distribution between May to June, is at a very low point. I would say that by looking at the automatic rally from the selling climax, if the price ever gets close to the green line, this is like the preliminary support period back in February. So that's why I say if the price really comes down near here, I will first take it as entering a new accumulation cycle. So that doesn't mean it can't go up for another test. It's just going to accumulate around the green line over here, maybe between the green and the white, and then it will eventually go up. That's one way it can happen, just like what we have seen back in April to June. It came down to the yellow, so showed us two signs of weaknesses in the weekly time frame, and then go back up again. And in daily, it's a very different picture. It showed us an accumulation period, and then where we are now. So when comparing the two, we've got this scenario, and let's hope for the best, but prepare for a little bit of price drop in the near term. So fingers crossed for everybody. Trade safe, put in your stop loss.